and welcome to this lesson on arrays in Java. As a part of our earlier lessons, we have had a look at the basic program elements in Java, the usage of variables, operators, and conditional statements. Later, we discussed the usage of loops in Java. As a part of this lesson, our objective is to understand the use and need of arrays in Java, creating and displaying the elements in an array. Following this, we will have a look at an example of modifying the elements in an array, and we will be discussing 3 examples of working with arrays, namely calculating the sum of array elements, searching for an element in an array, and sorting an array. As a part of this video, we will discuss until the first example, and we will discuss the other 2 examples as part of a subsequent video. Let us get started. So, what are variables in Java? Variables are used in Java to store a single unit of data. Each variable is used to hold a single unit of data. A variable can be used to store either a number or a character. But what if there is a need to work with a group of variables? In such situations, arrays are used. So an array is basically used to store a group of variables that are of the same type, namely a group of integers or a group of characters. An array cannot be used to store a group of integers and a character. The syntax or the usage of creating an array is type followed by a pair of square braces and the name of the array. Recall that to create a variable which is a normal variable, the syntax is just the type followed by the name of the variable. Example, int a. The difference between the creation of a normal variable and an array is that for an array variable, we use the square braces to indicate that it is an array and stores a group of variables and not a single variable. The values are assigned as the name of the array equals, within the curly braces, the values separated by commas. Thus, creating an integer array is like int followed by the symbol representing the array and the name of the array. The values are assigned as 1, 3, 7, 11 and 13 within curly braces separated by commas. Here we have created the array, that is, declared the array and initialized the array, both as part of the single statement. The second line shows an example of creating a character array that stores 5 vowels. The name of the array is vowels and the values that are stored in it are A, E, I, O and U. Let us understand the usage of arrays. Let us compare the usage of an array against a group of normal variables. Suppose I have a requirement to store 5 numbers. The program at the top uses 5 different variables to store the numbers, and the program below uses a single array variable to store the numbers. Let us walk through it. The first program uses 5 variables of names num1, num2, num3, num4 and num5 to store the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Finally, we are displaying the numbers using a print statement as the numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let us try to write the same program by using a single array variable in place of the 5 different numerical variables. We are creating a single array of name nums that stores the values of 5 numbers. This is followed by a line that displays the numbers on screen. You can see that using an array saves us a lot of lines of code and the creation of a number of variables. Here if you observe, as part of the print statement, we have used nums of 0, nums of 1, etc. Let us look at these in the following slide. The name of the array variable that we created was nums. Nums of 0 is used to get the value of the first element in the array. Because we have a group of elements, we use this number to indicate the position of the element within the array. This number inside the square bracket is called as the index and is used to access the elements of the array. Indices, plural, start at 0 and are used to indicate the position of an element within the array. Thus, for an array that has 5 numbers, the indices start at 0 and end at 4. Thus, the positions are 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the 5 elements are referred to as nums of 0, nums of 1, nums of 2, nums of 3, and nums of 4. The same can also be used to change the value of elements like nums of 1 is equal to 12. Let us try to work through this with an example. Consider an array that has the name number group. It is an integer array that stores 3 integers and has the values 10, 20, and 30 initially. If you look at the program, we are creating an integer array, naming it as number group, and assigning the values 10, 20, and 30 to it. Following this, we are displaying the values of numbers as the values are 10, 20, 30. As part of the next line, we are trying to assign the value of the second element, that is, number group of 1 to 11, and the value of the third element, that is, number group of 2 to 12. Thus, the array, which looked like this initially with the numbers 10, 20, and 30, has now been changed to 10, 11, and 12. To understand if this change has happened, let us try to display the numbers in the array. We are using the same print statement to display the elements in the array, and the output is the values are 10, 11, and 12. This is how we can modify the elements of an array once they have been created. Let us try to work through an example. Here we are trying to calculate the sum of elements of an array. We are using an array to store 5 numbers and we are calculating the sum of the numbers. We will write this program in both the ways, that is, without an array and using an array, and observe the difference in them. As part of the first program, we are using 5 different integer variables to store the 5 numbers. The variables are num1, num2, num3, num4, and num5, and are of type int. To store their sum, we are creating an integer variable called sum and assigning it with the value 0 initially. We are then calculating the sum as sum equals num1 plus num2 plus num3 plus num4 plus num5. Thus, at the end of the statement, the variable sum has the sum of all the 5 variables. We are displaying the value of sum as the sum of numbers is via the print statement. Let us try to write the same program but using an array variable instead of the 5 different variables. The reason we need to use array is that in the same program, if we have 100 different numbers, we will need to create 100 different variables. Let us see how using arrays help us do this in a much easier and a quicker way. We are creating a single array variable of name numarray and assigning the values of 5 numbers to it. We are using a counter variable called I, which is used to refer to each element of the array. We are creating a variable sum and assigning it with the value 0 initially. We are using a while loop that will help us run through each element of the array. The first position is indicated with the index 0. Thus, the loop starts as 0 and goes from 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. At the end of the loop, the variable sum will have the sum of all the 5 elements in the array. If we need to repeat this program for 100 numbers, we will just need the following changes. The variable will have to store 100 different numbers instead of the 5 numbers, and the condition in the loop will change to accommodate numbers from 0 to 99. Thus, the condition changes to I less than 100. Let us have a look at the other 2 examples as part of the next video. Thank you.